Welcome back to the AEC Leadership Channel. I'm Dr. BTA. If you've been following our monthly field reviews, you know we spend a lot of time looking through the rearview mirror, analyzing immediate market performance, policy, and people. But as we cross into the high-stakes third quarter, July, August, and September, it is time to look forward. Today, we are shifting our gaze to the AEC economic forecast. The macroeconomic environment has completely shifted. We are looking directly through the windshield at structural disruptions that generic models aren't preparing you for. If you want to expand your strategic expertise and solve the structural crises hitting your project life cycles, you need hard metrics. In this Q3 briefing, we are analyzing the latest data from the BLS, AGC, and the AIA consensus forecast. We are tracking volatile market trends, tightening labor data, and surging material costs, so your firm can outpace economic cycles before they eat your margins. Let's dive in. The Q3 economic briefing. The 12 indicators. To look clearly through the windshield for Q3, we track 12 distinct indicators shaping the summer and early fall landscape. Here is the raw macroeconomic briefing crossing our boards right now. For market trends, 1. The overall sector flattening. Total non-residential building spending is tracking a highly modest 1.0% overall baseline increase. 2. The civic capital surge. Institutional construction spending is seeing a steady, non-volatile growth projection of 2.7%. 3. The commercial divergence. The broader commercial sector averages a 3.0% increase, entirely sustained by hyper-growth assets like data centers. 4. The manufacturing pause. After years of historic triple-digit surges, manufacturing design pipelines are experiencing a temporary 3.9% contraction. For labor data, 5. The structural worker shortage. The industry faces a net deficit of approximately 349,000 unfulfilled skilled trade positions across the sector. 6. Wage push inflation realities. Average hourly earnings for core production trades are tracking a sustained annual increase of 4.0% to 5.0%. 7. The mega project wage premium. Specialized labor rates in high-demand industrial corridors are spiking by 9.0% to 11.0% to secure top talent. 8. The demographic trade deficit. Baby boomer retirements outpace incoming vocational talent, maintaining systemic multi-year pressure on field capacity. For material costs, 9. Tariff-driven metal spikes. Aluminum mill shapes have jumped an extraordinary 23.0% year-over-year under current trade policy exposures. 10. Fabricated steel variances. Structural steel mill products and rebar have surged 11.9% to 13.0% annually, introducing massive pricing variances during late buyout. 11. Copper core escalation. Electrical infrastructure is experiencing sustained upward friction, with copper products climbing 4.9% year-over-year. 12. The sticky bid price gap. Contractor bid prices are holding around a 4.4% increase, squeezing margins tightly against localized material and equipment spikes. Architecture, design portfolio alignment for Q3. Let's unpack these macroeconomic drivers, starting with architecture, and look at how forward-looking firms must position their design portfolios to outpace the market over July, August, and September. 1. Shifting toward the civic capital surge. Firms looking through the windshield are aggressively diversifying away from manufacturing pipelines, which are in a temporary reverse with a projected 3.9% decline, and positioning their design assets toward the civic capital surge. The latest AIA consensus construction forecast shows that institutional facilities are expected to see steady, low volatility growth of 2.7%. Public policy capital is locked into municipal assets and complex public safety structures. To capture this steady demand, Architectural leaders must prove advanced programmatic validation capabilities to win these public commissions throughout Q3. 2. Navigating the commercial divergence. This pivot is accelerated by understanding the truth behind commercial divergence. While the broader commercial forecast averages a 3.0% increase, that number is highly deceptive. It is entirely propped up by the explosive data center market, which is growing at a 26% clip, while traditional office and retail spaces are severely lagging or stalled. Outpacing this cycle across this quarter means focusing your commercial studios away from traditional shells and heavily toward adaptive reuse, smaller scale spatial conversions, or high-tech infrastructure support. 3. Mitigating macroeconomic uncertainty. With a modest 1.0% baseline increase across the broader building landscape, private owners are hyper-cautious. High borrowing costs and economic policy shifts have created intense uncertainty. To protect your pipeline this quarter, your design development phase must deliver bulletproof cost justification models that demonstrate how space layouts drastically reduce upfront capital expenditures while optimizing long-term lifecycle performance. 4. Implementing autonomous digital mandates. Contractors report that the hyper-growth data center and advanced institutional markets prioritize operational uptime and data integration over architectural aesthetics. If your architectural teams are not embedding strict information asset data, clean equipment assets, and live digital twin frameworks into their early models, you will be systematically disqualified from high-tier institutional and technical pursuits by the end of the quarter. Engineering, stabilizing systems against Q3, labor data. Now, let's look through the windshield at the discipline facing the most severe human capital constraints this summer. Our Q3 forecast shows that raw labor metrics are currently dictating system architecture. 5. Solving the structural worker shortage. The defining constraint for engineering executives over the next 3 months is navigating a structural industry deficit of approximately 349,000 net new workers. Because the supply of field labor is contracting, engineering leaders must outpace this cycle by intentionally designing systems with lower installation complexity. If you specify an overly intricate system during this quarter, your project will sit stalled on the job site for months due to a lack of certified hands to execute it in the field. 6. Adapting to wage push inflation realities. This scarcity is driving structural wage growth, with average hourly earnings for construction production trades rising 4.0% to 5.0% year over year. When preparing engineering cost estimates this quarter, you cannot rely on outdated baseline metrics. You must build realistic, localized labor buffers into your system configurations to ensure your project budget remains solvent. 7. Managing the mega project wage premium. Furthermore, we must address the intense pressure from high-demand industrial corridors. Mega projects are paying premium wage increases of 9.0% to 11.0% to lock down specialized mechanical, electrical, and plumbing talent. Outpacing the Q3 market requires engineering leaders to proactively design modular, prefabricated, or off-site assembled configurations that protect the project from localized field labor dry spells. 8. Bridging the professional upskilling deficit. Lastly, as owners increasingly demand highly sustainable, code-compliant, and optimized upgrades, your project managers cannot rely on gut feelings. Outpacing the Q3 market requires a direct leadership commitment to upskilling your engineers in data-driven project controls, risk assessment, and precise cost analysis, so they can aggressively mitigate design variances before they trigger field change orders. Construction, securing logistics against summer material costs. Finally, let's turn our windshield to look toward construction, focusing on how general contractors can protect their project contingency funds against a highly localized, tariff-driven surge in summer material costs. 9. managing tariff-driven metal spikes. The biggest financial shock to construction balance sheets this quarter comes from extreme policy-driven volatility in metals. While overall non-residential inputs are holding steady at a 3.2% year-over-year increase, specific components are skyrocketing. Under current tariff structures, aluminum mill shapes have exploded by 23.0% annually. Contractors cannot afford to wait for standard submittal cycles. You must enforce an aggressive early buyout strategy to insulate project margins. 10. Absorbing fabricated steel variances. This volatility is further compounded by structural steel mill products and fabricated rebar, which have surged between 11.9% and 13.0% year over year. This means that metal compliance costs and trade restrictions are introducing massive pricing variances during the late buyout stage. Construction managers must implement rigorous, data-driven material tracking methods early on, providing clients with clear financial visibility into how market changes affect overall cost projections. 11. Tracking copper core escalation. Electrical infrastructure and specialized component costs are experiencing sustained upward friction, with copper products climbing 4.9% year over year. Because long lead electrical items like transformers are facing extended lead times and tariff-driven premiums, early procurement is no longer a luxury. It is an absolute operational mandate to protect project timelines. 12. Navigating the sticky bid price gap. General non-residential selling and bid inflation are holding around a 4.4% annual increase. With specific material inputs like aluminum and steel escalating at double-digit rates, contractors are facing an uneven, highly localized margin squeeze. Looking through the windshield means factoring these specialized supply chain variances directly into your initial operational budgets, rather than letting them bleed out your field contingency. Summary and call to action. To look through the windshield and successfully outpace the economic cycles across July, August, and September, prioritize these three strategic actions. 1. In architecture, position your portfolios towards steady institutional assets at 2.7% growth, align commercial studios with the data center surge, and ensure your teams deliver the data asset frameworks these owners demand. 2. In engineering, combat the 349,000 worker deficit and mega project wage spikes by simplifying system geometries and designing for off-site prefabrication. 3. In construction, protect your margins against double-digit aluminum and steel spikes by executing aggressive early buyout strategies on electrical and structural infrastructure. If you want to keep expanding your expertise and build the strategies needed to navigate the built environment, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below with which of these Q3 indicators is hitting your backlog hardest this week, and share this forecast with an AEC executive who needs a clear view through the windshield. That concludes our forecast for today. This is AEC Leadership, where we bridge the gap between academic theory and industry practice to advance the expertise and competence of global professionals. To our practitioners and emerging leaders watching around the world, thank you for tuning in. If you want to master the 3x6 framework, your definitive blueprint for operational excellence, strategic foresight, and transformational leadership, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. For deeper professional development resources, visit our platform today and help shape the future of the built environment. Until next time, remember, competence is not a static state. It is a continuously validated trajectory. Build your expertise, not as a summit, but as the platform from which you orchestrate leadership. Keep looking forward, keep leading with foresight. I'm Dr. BTA. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next AEC Economic Forecast for Q4.